Very good morning, everyone. I am Jonathan from the Agentforce 360 for Nonprofit team, and it's really awesome to see so many of you. So, on behalf of Mr. Mark being off, we just want to thank you very much for everything that you do in this wonderful ecosystem. But you're not here to hear from me. I'm going to introduce the biggest charity in New Zealand, Hato Hone St John, and also one of the most trusted. So for as many decades as I can remember, in a trust survey, the organisation which Mo works for is usually at about number 1 or 2. So a huge organisation, 140 years old, with about 9,000 employees. He did tell me on the way here not to steal any of his content, so apart from saying that Mo hasn't always worked in the NGO sector, he's worked in corporate London, and he is the National Manager of Digital Engagement. I think I got that right. So yeah, he's an awesome speaker. He delivered a similar talk in Auckland at the recent Agentforce event, and was widely regarded from CEOs of some of the biggest companies as not only the best speaker of the day, but one of the best speakers they have ever seen. So the pressure is really on. So with that, ladies and gentlemen, Mo Ravi.
Kia ora. That's how we say hello in just across the ditch in New Zealand. Thank you for having me here, and thank you, Jonathan, for that introduction. And thank you to all the event sponsors. You know, today you will hear a lot about AI and digital transformation and technology and features. But before we get there, I just want us to be grounded in something more fundamental. Hato Hone St John, the organization that I work for, has been serving New Zealanders for more than 140 years. Most of the ambulance service, we cover about 97% of the country, but we're so much more. We're fundraisers, we provide community education, we sell products and services, we're commercial. We're there in people's lives in extraordinary moments and in ordinary ones. So when someone calls us, or donates to us, or learns with us, or volunteers, those aren't just moments of transactions, they're moments of connection. And in our world, health and emergency, every moment matters. I'm not here to share a polished case study. We're mid-journey, and I suspect many of you are too. What I'm here to talk about is why smarter, unified data matters, and how it can help serve people better. Because behind every data point is a person, and if those dots aren't connected, people start falling through the cracks. That's the risk of forgetting our purpose, but it's also the opportunity to use technology, not as the end, but the means to serve with dignity and build trust. Meet Aroha. Aroha isn't a persona or a case study. She represents the people that we serve every single day. One night, her child starts choking. She dials 111. Our paramedics and our ambulance arrive, and her child is okay. She's feeling really grateful. Weeks later, she comes across a radio ad from us. Still feeling very grateful, she decides to donate online. She's meanwhile really worried about her elderly father who lives alone. She comes across a medical alarm ad on social media, so she signs him up for one. Her employer has just booked her onto a St. John First Aid training course, and her son, little Junior, has just done one of our little CPR programs in school. She's also worried about the cost of an ambulance for the family. It's really expensive. So she signs up for an ambulance membership. Eventually, she loves the work that our organization does, that she decides to spare a few hours and becomes a caring caller volunteer, checking in on isolated people in the community. As you can tell, she is deeply invested in our organization. She's nearly touched every part of it, from commercial to volunteering to community programs, nearly every part. But here's the thing, she shows up in our systems as 5 or 6 different people. Her son's emergency call is in one system. Her donation is a separate record. Her dad's medical alarm is managed somewhere else. And her first aid training course is yet another system. And because of that, we make mistakes. We miss the context. We send her irrelevant emails. We ask her to donate even after she just gave. and we treat her like she's a stranger. And when she becomes a volunteer, we don't treat her like family. Now that's the problem. This isn't about system architecture. This is about dignity, care, and connection. Now, when you think about that, no one sees her fully, no one sees her clearly, and if we can't see her clearly, you can't serve her well. That's the problem. So we've got some great tools. We've got Salesforce, MuleSoft, Service Cloud, Marketing Cloud, personalization, Ad Studio, SMS Studio, and so much more, and we've done a lot with it. Yet our data still lives in silos. When Hato Hone signs her data up for a medical alarm, that interaction doesn't connect with her past donation. When she changes her address, she has to do it across multiple systems. And when she signs up for a first aid training course, or her employer signs her up for a first aid training course, she's treated like a stranger. These aren't abstract problems, they're real world frictions. When you think about it, I'll give you an example. Last year, a supporter of us called us to complain that she'd been with us for more than 15 years. She received 3 emails in the span of 1 week about her ambulance membership renewal. 2 days later, her dad passed away, and we sent an automated email asking if she wanted to upgrade his medical alarm package. Now that's not system failure, that's dignity failure. And if you think about that, billing errors, duplicate emails, refund complaints, service reps who don't have the full picture, all of that erodes trust. If you think about it, trust isn't lost in big scandals, it's lost in small everyday moments where we fail to see people clearly. Our frontline teams, feel it too. Imagine being the service rep trying to help Hato but only seeing half her story. It's frustrating for her, but it's also frustrating for the service staff who doesn't have access to the context that they need. So yes, we've got the tools, but without the connection, they create friction. And when that happens, people, not systems, carry the burden. So why does it matter? We're not just a retailer, we're not just another service provider. We're a commercial organization, but also mission-driven. One of the biggest charities in New Zealand. Just for context, we provide about $200 million in revenue annually. We run commercial products and services like first aid training. We sell medical alarms. We add subscription-based products like ambulance membership. Also community-led volunteering programs. So we have to be commercially viable, but also mission-driven. So what's the conundrum? Do you optimize for conversion or do you optimize for care? The answer is you can't choose. We have to do both. Because we have to be commercially viable and be mission driven. Every single interaction matters. When you think about it, it's a life on the line, it's someone buying a first aid training kit or making a donation. And in all those spaces, trust is the currency that you trade in. Trust that your ambulance will show up on time. Trust that your donation will be used wisely. Trust that your ambulance membership will protect your family. Trust must be earned with consistency, care, and context. And every single time we break that trust, even through system failures or accidents, it's not just financial, the burden. It's emotional, it's reputational, it's erosion of 140 years of goodwill that we've built. So when I talk about digital transformation, I'm not talking about anything else. I'm not talking about AI. I'm talking about all that we need to do to protect that currency, trust. Therefore, our vision is simple but powerful. One individual, one Hato Hone St John. We want a unified, single, respectful view of every customer and donor, not to sell them more, but to serve them better, to honor their relationship across all channels. Now, some of you might be thinking, how do you get there? It's nice, Mom, it's nice to get that, but how do you actually get there? We don't have the answers, but I'll tell you what, you have the principles that guide you. When you think about technologies like Data Cloud and Agentforce, they're critical enablers. It can help us get there. But this is beyond technology. It's about why we're doing it. It's about honoring people's relationships, respecting them, serving them with dignity, and putting trust back at the center. In Maori, the Te Reo Maori in New Zealand, there's a concept called whakapapa. Whakapapa means genealogy, but it also means the layering of relationships and connections over time. So when I talk about unified data, I'm talking about honoring Whakapapa. It's not just good customer experience or user experience, it's cultural obligation. Imagine a world where Aroha felt seen, where every one of our interaction reflects her full context and her full story, not just the latest interaction. We don't have to repeat ourselves. Where we see that that's about respect, it's not about technology. One story, one relationship, one Hato Hone St John. We're not starting from scratch. We have made meaningful progresses when we've seen that when we take a personalized, precision-based view of the customer, we can actually make a huge difference. Even with legacy systems and fragmented data, when you put audience first and data first, you make meaningful progresses. So for example, last year, our ambulance membership omni-channel journey generated about $2 million in revenue. Salesforce-powered journeys attribute about $3 million in revenue annually. Our bounce rates have dropped by 3%, and our cart value has increased significantly. Just by turning on a single abandoned cart campaign, and a lot of people looked at me and went, an abandoned cart campaign for a charity? For a donation? I said, just hold on. And it brought in about $1 million in revenue over the last couple of months. So when you think about this is not just about the numbers, it's also about the customer experiences. Personalization has improved because we're tracking what affinities people are consuming. Our omni-channel journey is connecting web, social, SMS, email, and being very seamless about it. And then our time to convert is improving because people are just getting relevant content and consuming more timely content. All of this tells us that when you activate data with a purpose, you make meaningful outcomes for the organization and for the people. So let's reimagine that experience. It was quite a sob story, wasn't it? If you think about it, when Aroha donates, our thank you reflects her full journey. When she changes her address, she only has to do it once. When she signs up for a first aid training course, or her employer signs up for a first aid training course, she perhaps gets a discount because we already know that her dad's a medical lab member. And when she volunteers, we stop asking her for donations and we treat her like family. That's the shift from impersonal transactions to human-centered, intelligent experiences. Less friction, more connection, a system that reflects her full story, not just her latest interaction. So we need systems to be empathetic, not just efficient. Why do we do this? The word kaupapa on your screen means why. Because people deserve better. We've seen what happens when we get this wrong. Billing errors, fragmented journeys, frequent complaints, service staff who are fixing broken processes and apologizing for systems they did not build. So our job is to fix what's broken. That means designing with purpose. And here's what makes it really hard. IT wants stability. Marketing wants speed. Finance wants ROI. Service wants simplicity. Executives want transformation. Everyone's right. Everyone's frustrated. Our job isn't to pick a side. Our job is to translate between them using a shared language, trust. Does this build or erode trust with Aroha? Suddenly the conversation shifts. It's no longer marketing versus IT, it's us versus the problem. When you think about that, it's all about investing in consent and preference management systems that honor people's relationship with us. Because consent isn't compliance data, it's respect in action. It's also about clearer cross-team data governance frameworks, not bureaucracy, but clarity about who owns what and how we can come together. It's also about investing in platforms that scale ethically and responsibility, not just quickly. This isn't about chasing the latest tool or the shiniest platform. This is about respect for people, their data, and their choices. And that's what builds trust. And when we do this right, the impact is deeply human. To realize the vision of one individual, one Hato Hone St John, we have to underpin it by 4 pillars. Pillar number 1, we know you, which is all about an actionable, unified data set. Number 2, we help you, which is all about empowering our frontline teams so that a customer only has to ask once. Think about Agentforce, it's exactly that. Number 3, we communicate with you, which is all about communicating with precision and personalization, so that my message is not irrelevant to you. Number 4, we evolve for you, which is all about evolution and insights that power go-to-market processes. Now, when we do this right, we reduce admin burden, we fix broken processes, we show up with relevance and care, we connect the right people with the right support at the right time, and also, we strengthen trust across every relationship. Doesn't matter whether you're a donor, learner, supporter, whoever you are. But it's also about what it means for people like Hato Hone. If our dad passes away, we don't send her a billing notice the next week. We don't ask her to renew something that no longer applies. Instead, she's acknowledged, she's supported. The systems behind the scenes have the sensitivity and the awareness to respond. Instead, she's supported. No one wants to relive that moment through system failures. So when you think about it, that's alignment, that's real impact, that's Hato Hone St John walking its talk. Imagine if every one of your customers felt seen. We're not done. We're mid-journey, and we still know where a lot we have to head towards a bigger journey. But what we do know is that we're heading towards a smarter, values-based journey where you put your digital future on not just KPIs, but values. In the next 12 months, we're investing in 3 things. A unified identity resolution project. Number 2, a centralized consent and preference management system, because people control their relationship with us. We don't tell them how we control their relationship. And number 3, clear cross-team data governance frameworks. Not sexy, but necessary. Because when you think about this, we can measure a lot of things. We can measure how Salesforce works, we can measure KPIs, we can measure revenue. But how do you measure dignity? We track complaints, we track sentiment, we track compliments, CSAT scores. But this is about what I'm calling a relationship health score, or a relationship health model. Because we have to combine recency, frequency, cross-service engagement, and sentiment. That's the true metric of your customer. Now I'll leave this room with one thought. In every one of our team meetings, we leave an empty chair. We make the decisions about technology every single day, or anything for that matter. The chair reminds us that when we take decisions about technology, or anything for that matter, there are people not in the room. They might be your customers, your donors, your employees, or even future generations. And when we do that, suddenly, when we start making decisions about technology, we shift the conversation from making decisions about service of the system and service of the people instead. Now that's the shift, because technologies will evolve, AI will come and go, features will evolve, platforms will even change names, but one thing will endure, that's trust. Trust is the only strategy that will suffice. Thank you so much for having me, Melbourne. Thank you.